had a scene in my head that I wanted to draw, and I was having a bad art day this day, so I'm not a. There are parts of this that I think could have been better, but this was the best I could do that day because I already tried to do different pieces of art like 3 different times, and it just wasn't working out. But I had this idea for like a cozy, like space station view. Someone just reading a tablet with a cat with the Earth and the moon in the background in like a little window seat. So that's what I was going for. You see me just building the anatomy on top of the bone structure here.
Did you know the title you were going to go with before you started working or after?
I had an idea of what the title would be, but I made sure it like fit that before it was solidified. Like if the piece had changed enough throughout me drawing it, I would have changed the title too.
That's fair.
But this is me figuring out like the circles, because of course the window has to be a certain way, but then the actual seat, I wanted to build it sort of the space station equivalent of those like Victorian half seats in the tower windows.
It kind of reminds me of 2001, Space Odyssey.
A little bit, yeah. Little Deep Space Nine maybe.
Yeah.
With the ovals that are different dimensions, so be just doing the head anatomy, and there's a lot of erasing in here. I did a lot that I didn't like. And it's still not my favorite. I have to work on drawing more realistic people. My anatomy is very cartoony still.
The trick is references.
Yeah, well, that was I was already frustrated, so I didn't have enough references going into this because I had planned to draw a different thing, and then that was turning out terribly. I wasted like 2 hours on that. I used 2 hours on that to find ways that didn't work.
Yeah, you learned.
There were things that weren't working in that 2 hours, so then I jumped to this instead. But I wasn't planning on drawing this, so I didn't have references for this.
I like how you did the feet though, with the thickness of the. Not the heel, but the under part. The foot.
Yeah, no. There were certain places where I thought it worked out really well. I really like the way the window ended up.
Mm-hmm.
And I really like the way the cat and the cushions ended up, considering all things considered. I like the way that the Earth and Moon ended up. Really, it's the anatomy of the person where I feel like I could have done better if there was more planning stages. Here's the first of like... I draw this hand at least 8 times.
I've heard that for a lot of people, hands are the hardest thing in the world.
Hands are... I'm not good at drawing hands. It's super hard.
I mean, there are days where I have trouble. But for the most part, I found the trick was to only draw hands for a page of my sketchbook a lot and often until I was able to draw a hand. And still use reference. Still look at my own hand and figure out how. Yeah,
there was a lot of staring at my own hand during this, but I just couldn't. It just wasn't. You can see. You can feel the frustration, and then I realized the head's too big.
There's also, again, looking at skeletons really does help.
Yeah.
Because then you can see how everything actually moves.
I should have just borrowed your art guy, because you have one of those wooden mannequin things that I could have, like, positioned him.
They also come in a hand, which I think is pretty neat.
No, the hand ones are neat. I should get us a hand one.
We should get one.
We should get one. Because hands are hard.
Yeah.
You're figuring out, like, how the lips should look, because it was supposed to be... And because I was, like, mid-piece, I wasn't going to change the width of the pen, because I didn't want it to shift, so I was just like, I'll just erase the extra.
Yeah. Well, because you don't have pressure sensitivity on.
Yeah.
You don't use that the way I am, like, I cannot function without it.
Well, the drawing tablet I have, I don't think, has pressure sensitivity, so...
Probably not.
Because mine's the one with the screen built into it.
See, I don't know why I'm so opposed to not using it at this point, though, because I used to draw with everything, anything that was around me on paper. And I guess you could decide with markers, sometimes pressure sensitivity, to make a picture have lines that were bigger or thinner, but like, I don't know.
For a lot of mine, I just work from the outside in, so the more detail, I just change the pen thinner, and as I get more detailed going in.
Yeah.
But it wasn't there yet with this one, so I just drew the line and erased. And was trying to figure out where the cat should be, and I decided the cat should be closer to the person.
More cuddly.
Yeah.
Cozy.
Cozy.
Makes sense. Yeah. That makes sense.
And then I draw on the sketch layer.
Well, that's okay. That
Which...
I would rather accidentally draw on the sketch layer than, like, everything be on one layer, which I've done without meaning to.
Yeah. And I realize that it's on the same layer, and at this point I just yell, fuck.
But it's just the cat, right?
Redraw the cat.
Yeah, it's just the cat. That's what I'm saying. Like,
yeah.
It's not everything on the sketch layer. It's just the cat.
I don't typically get too far in before I realize I'm doing things incorrectly. I just... Yeah, and that's me doing the ellipse, but I did it in the wrong layer, so it merged. So, and then just figuring out where the moon's going to be.
I should probably make use of ellipses. I tend to just scribble a bunch of circles and then erase what's awful. And that's how I make a circle.
Sometimes I would do that, but for this one I was just like, there's going to be some things that are geometric and some things that are more organic. And I thought it worked with the piece at the end. Even though I don't like how my anatomy turned out, I do everything that I used geometric with a mix of my handwriting or my drawing style. I do like that. Like, I love the window. I love the way the planet looks in the window. I love the cat. I love the way the cushions turn out.
I do like the cat.
Yeah. There's me just rounding out the cushions here.
Extra cozy.
Yeah. Because they build up the window. I do more later to make them more 3D, but that's just to build out the bottom of the window there.
Yeah.
I sort of make them look like if you've ever seen cushions on a boat, they're not like couch cushions, they have like this sheen to them. And I sort of figure space cushions would be the same thing.
It is a spaceship.
So, yeah. So I try and make like space cushions. There's me trying to figure out like where the pressure would be. I redo this a couple of times too. I guess the core lesson here is don't be afraid to try again.
Yeah, that's the beauty of digital, is you can just undo.
Do it over.
Yeah.
One more time.
You also make use of zoom, which I try to. I often forget that I can zoom in or out. Because once you're zoomed in doing the detail, you still have to zoom out again to see what it actually looks like.
Yeah, I get real up in the details, and I zoom out, and you probably don't even notice that these things are the way they are. But like, it's really important to me that the rivets be sort of equal away from each other. And for a while I thought maybe put a light source up there, so I experiment with this for a while. I think eventually I just say no to that. But I figure if it is supposed to be like a seat in a reading alcove, maybe they have a light up there, but I just couldn't get it to fit and look good. So...
Well, if they're using a tablet, they might not need it anyway.
Yeah. So I just move on to the planet.
There's a lot of, literal world, because Earth, but there's a lot of world building in this story. Like, you're seeing how this person lives their lives. Yeah.
I tried to make it more Star Trek. Like, there's a coziness to it, and the world's there, and the land is green, and the water's blue, and, like, it's hopeful. Like, in this universe, we made it. We got through this rough period, and we built a better world where there are people in space who are not concerned with the world blowing up. Later on, I realized that I didn't put the pressure on around the feet, so I fixed that. But
Just, you know,
Already,
really leaning in.
the parts that work, you can already see are coming together. Like, it's very aesthetically pleasing seeing the window and the circles in there.
Yeah. I like the composition of it. I didn't put enough thought into my composition, so I'm always pleased when you show me things and you've actually put thought into it.
Somewhat. I knew, because originally the cat was going to be elsewhere on this.
Yeah. But you thought about it.
Yeah, but I kind of built it. It wasn't like, there wasn't forethought. I just, as I was doing it, I realized that certain things worked better. It drew the eye better to have, like, the major subjects and then the minor subjects together to draw your eye through the piece that way.
We don't do a lot of thumbnails.
I just didn't even draw his thumb.
You know what I mean?
I know what you mean.
Well, I said it as you were drawing
Yeah.
fingers. Fingernails.
Yeah. In my mind, this is a her. I mean, it's a little androgynous. I think the future is probably a little more androgynous than we give it credit for. So.
It's already getting there. The younger generation.
Yeah, that's part of what I built. And then here's where I started drawing. And there are probably easier ways to do this, but I always really like this part. It's just, at this point, the piece has worked enough for me that there's a catharsis in drawing the outline. It also helps me get in there and check and make sure that those small details, that I'm zooming in on everything and it's all working.
It's kind of meditative.
Exactly. At this point, I'm just doing sketchy. I'm just going to build out from that darkness. I was going to go in and add in stars later. I don't think I ever did. But I don't think it needed it either.
If you ever want to, you always could go back in later.
Yeah.
You know, anything that
If I ever go back in, I'll probably redo the person who's in there.
That's kind of my point. Anything that you want to edit,
Yeah.
you always can. You know, it's your piece. Hello, Roxy.
I think Roxy desires to go outside, but she has to wait until after we're done recording.
You want to see the picture?
Building the oceans, drawing around the land masses. Yeah, I know there are more efficient ways to do it, but this is the way I chose to do it. This is how I enjoy doing art. And I do like the way the world came out.
Well, this is on the same layer as the dark.
Yeah, I did. I just did a color layer. Like if I wasn't having such a frustrating day, I probably would have done another layer and dropped it behind, so I didn't have to watch the edges so hard.
See, that's what I always do.
But
because it's just so much easier.
Yeah, but I was just.
It gets easier and easier as you go down.
Yeah. Well, I was also trying to stick it to an hour, so.
Yeah.
There were limitations that I was trying to stick to, and I already spent so much time trying to get stuff that didn't work. That yeah. Now I'm onto the land. Fill that in. So good green and blue orb.
Mm-hmm.
I tried to make it look vaguely like the world, but not specifically Earth.
Just a planet.
Yeah, there's a planet. And originally, again, I was going to go in and do more detail on the world, but I thought the stark green and blue worked really well.
Yeah, and it's not the focus of the piece.
Yeah. So I could have added a lot more detail at the end of this, but like I could have added shadows to the rivets and all that, but that's not really what the piece was about.
Right. Glad you're getting every nook and cranny.
Just you going around the circle and making sure I got it drawn in.
Does this character have a name?
I didn't think of one.
You don't have to. I don't mean to put you on the spot.
If you have a name suggestion.
I do not. In the comments, if you have a name suggestion.
Layla?
Maybe?
Maybe a Layla?
What about the cat? You have two characters here.
The cat is Snickers.
I like it.
I don't know why that came easier. The cat is Snickers. the young woman is insert your own name here. Whatever you think her name is, that's valid. I realize that I missed the feed at this point, hopefully, so. I can't even tell what I'm doing right now.
Yeah, what are you doing?
I don't know. Up there, I was picking colors for. That's
yeah,
all. Picking.
It doesn't always show certain tools being used.
Yeah, if I'm picking up colors, then it doesn't know. So I was probably picking out proper colors. Oh, we've got a treat coming on because later on, I'm trying to pick Layla's skin tone, and I fail for a while to pick a correct skin tone. But Snickers was pretty easy. He's calico-y.
Yeah.
So I decided to go warmer colors for the inside of the space station, considering all the cool colors on the outside and in the metals and such. Sort of make the things that are living pop, which I started with Snickers and then...
Yeah. I appreciate, too, the pattern on the shirt. You didn't just do one flat thing.
No, I thought that would be a little much, so sort of a little bit sci-fi inspired with the bands and such, but nothing specific.
A little original series Star Trek.
Also, most things that are white, I try to at least make off-white.
Yeah. I remember some painting class a million years ago. My teacher said even if your canvas is white, you still have to paint the white. And as a child, I did not understand that, because that seems like a waste. But now I understand the texture is different.
So the texture, also like pure white is like...
Stark.
Yeah, the eye doesn't like looking at pure white.
Yeah. Oh, here's you testing different skin tones.
Oh, here's where it starts.
Where it starts.
Well, you can't see the color picker. This goes on for this was like 20 minutes of my life. Just trying to find a skin tone. Because I didn't want them to be... I wanted it to be a placeable skin tone. I just wanted it to be like... Again, in the future, everything's kind of mixed.
Yeah. It's hard to tell what color you're going to use, though. Yeah, until you get to the face. Because when it's right next to the sort of orangey brown of the shirt, it's going to look different.
And against the black of the outside.
Right. But you figured it out eventually.
Yeah, eventually. I think also, putting the eyes in sort of helped, too.
Yeah. And I like this color for the hair.
Yeah. It's the future. Your hair can be whatever color you want.
Mm-hmm.
And whoever's listening to this right now, you live in the future. Your hair can be whatever color you want.
Especially post-2020.
Yeah.
I hope that's the big takeaway from 2020, is you can look however you want to look. Nothing matters.
My office required me to go in for a day, and one of my coworkers remarked upon my new mohawk, and I said something along the lines of, "You're lucky I'm not in a hockey mask and a Speedo. I'm Mad Max at home."
Yeah. But everybody started doing that.
Yeah.
So a lot of mohawks, a lot of fun dyed hair, people who had never done that before.
Yeah, I was very lucky to be able to telecommute as thoroughly as I was, so...
Yeah.
Not complaining, just at home I just started dressing the way I want to.
Yeah. And I hope that aspect can stay over.
That'd be nice.
Because there's just no need for a lot of it. This does look very cozy.
It does. There's a bit of the Space Odyssey vibe to it with this stark white on the outside.
Yeah.
But I tried to make it less of a bleak environment, because that's in Space Odyssey it was reported as very bleak and lonely. I guess this would be sort of the picture of 2020, because we're all in kind of our own personal spaceships.
Yeah.
We had a limited crew, but we still got to see Earth and interact with it in our own way.
You wind up with a very cozy photo. And I like there's sort of an anti-gravity thing going on.
Because, cats lay with the way they lay.
Wherever. It doesn't matter if it's on the ceiling.
Yeah.
They'll just lay there. So this is good.
Yay. Also, like, at this view, I like how textured the moon came out.
Yeah. Yeah, you can still see everything even when it's farther away, which is cool. You're not losing any details.
A lot of stuff just, like, it mellows out a bit, but it's still visible that is a very textured moon.
I like this. I like the coziness. I like the composition. And the shapes.
I did at some point remember the stress lines around the feet.
You did.
I've tried to do a more even lighting on the inside, but on the outside you can see all the spheres have like a stark shadow that's happened.
Mm-hmm. So the sun is somewhere upper left.
Yeah, the sun's somewhere in space, but
Some
it's not
star.
necessarily affecting the way you're seeing things on the inside.
Right.
So, yeah.
I like that.
That was a good use of the stark whites to...
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But yeah. So, having a bad art day, I still got something that I'm not... I probably wouldn't make a print of it, but I'm proud of it.
That's what
There's a
matters.
lot I built on in this piece that makes me recognize how far I've come in art.
Mm-hmm.
I do still have to work on my anatomy. I still, when drawing people just fresh, they tend to come out a little cartoony for what I'm trying for. But they've still improved. Like, this is still a vast improvement over the people I used to draw.
What helps me if I'm drawing a human without a reference of any kind, I try to remember what parts of the body you can measure against other parts. So that way, my people don't wind up all exactly the same, but they wind up proportionate to themselves.
Yeah.
You know, like your forearm versus the length of your foot.
The legs probably should have been bigger. The head shape I don't do bad at. It's just like it tends to look a little flat because I simplify.
Simplify isn't bad though.
No, but like
No, we're gonna do more of these, and it's gonna be fun.
Yeah.
We're gonna learn things.
we're gonna keep drawing, we're gonna keep learning, and we are going to continue improving.
Yeah.
All right. Everyone out there, if you're trying, you're doing something well.